Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Rolls and Rockets. Let's continue our journey here in the Hive Marketplace.
Can't afford to get caught off guard, Cutter.
Craddock.
Top of the line.
Craddock. Bane the Sunder wants us to speak to this fellow. You see a huge man watching the area with a tight-lipped frown and narrowed eyes. He is hunched slightly as if bearing a heavy load on his shoulders. The unpleasant smell of sweat and dirt wafts from his clothes. Greetings. The man glances down at you, and his frown deepens. Aye, what are ye sniffing round here for? You Craddock? Mayhap? He studies your face as if trying to recall you. If I am, what be it to ye? I come with a message from Bane the Sender. The message states the shipment must be incursed by the 3rd day or there will be a penalty. By the hells! Can they be such fools that they think we can miracle it there? Alright then, your message has found its way to the right ears, for all the good it will do. What's the problem? Look around ye. Craddock nods at the laborers in the marketplace and scowls. These laggards and half-wits can barely keep up with the load as it stands, and now it needs doing in half the time. Do you need any help? I'll tell you what I need. All my men to show up for work. July's gone missing since this morn, and I need him back now. July, where did he go? That hive-bred goat is probably passed out on the street somewhere by the smoldering corpse when he should be here helping us. Worthless sod. I could go find him for you. Oh, ye could ye? Craddock squints at you. And now, why would ye do that? You need the help, don't you? It doesn't sound like you can spare the time to go looking for him, and there's work to be done. Craddock is silent for a moment, then nods. Aye. Ye find July. Ye tell him to drag his worthless bub-ridden hide here. I'll pay ye for your trouble. He frowns. When ye found him, now get. You said he's likely by the smoldering corpse. Where is that?
Updated my journal.
It's south and east of here. Head through the southeast gate, not northeast gate. Damn ye. Then head east for about a block. It's got a mess of drunks outside, can't miss it. July's most like somewhere around there. Alright, I'll go look for him, farewell. Yeah, I know where he is, but still. Rofira. This grim-looking woman spares you only a brief glance before returning to her rant on top of the stage. She has a powerful voice that carries across the marketplace, even cutting through the noise made by the merchants and the surrounding foot traffic. Leave her alone, I guess.
Can't afford to get caught off guard, Cutter. We sell only
Gauha.
Here we are, Basser. I think we can fix
You see a thin, yellow-skinned humanoid covered with a variety of dazzling tattoos. His eyebrows have been accented with black charcoal lines, and his teeth are filed to points. He sees you and waves you over, rattling his dice in his hand. Greetings. He displays a feral shark-toothed grin. His eyes are like shiny black orbs. His voice is low and raspy. Gala greets you, all's well. You have come to play a game, yes? No, but I had some questions. Gauha's smiles fade in an instant. He shakes his head. No interest in questions, have I? Only the game. The turning of the dice, the glint of coin won or lost, yes? He shakes the bone dice in his palm. You have no interest in these things? Alright, I'll play. Geoha reaches into his tunic and pulls out a coin. This coin? Your coin. He places it at your feet and pulls out another. This coin? Geoha's. He places it at his own feet, then holds up 2 dice between his thumb and index finger. The dice. We both roll 1, yes? Go on. You roll higher, both coins. He snatches the coins up from the ground and prefers them to you. Yours. Geoha, roll higher? He quickly tucks the coppers back into his tunic. Mine. Neither rolls higher. The coin stays for another roll. So, how much coin will lie at your feet? 5 copper commons. You both roll the dice until you roll higher. You pick up the coins and put them away. Geoha nods, frowning. It is enough for now, but perhaps we shall play again later, you and I. Wait, is something wrong? Geoha regards you closely for a moment, then nods. Never do I indulge in Hashma's folly. Never do I cheat, human. But I see fortune, read it, know it in the face of a man. However, in you I see nothing. I know nothing. You have no luck. No fortune, neither good nor ill. Or you make your own, perhaps I do not know. He places his dice back into his tunic. We might play later, perhaps, but no more this moment. All right, farewell. Updated my journal. No. Beryl?
I must rest.
Yes, you must rest. I'm extremely neglectful of Dakon.
Can't afford to get cut off.
Never letting him rest. Reekwind. Reekwind. This man is looking at you with a strange bug-eyed stare. His eyes are huge, so huge they look ready to pop out of his sockets and roll across the cobblestones. He nods eagerly as you approach, bobbing his head like a bird. And as you near him, you suddenly notice the smell of urine and feces surrounding him. Greetings. The man sniffles, wiping his nose on his sleeve, then opens his mouth to reveal blackened, rotted gums. Taken aback by his foul description. Stories for coins, Sarah! His breath reeks. It smells like this man has been keeping rotten meat stored inside his mouth. Stories for coin? Who are you? The man snorts, thick with phlegm. Named who you are. Who you are. His head does a slight twitch every time he repeats himself. Names. Dangerous. He glances at the ground and stirs the dirt with his foot. Dangerous? Knowing a name or being stuck with one, both a mess of trouble. He looks back up at you. My name's a given name, not one asked for. Reekwind. Once again, you become conscious of his reeking breath and the smell of urine and feces that surrounds him. A given name. A given name. Is that your real name? Not my true name. Reekwind mumbles on, his head twitching every time he says name. A true name's a dangerous thing. You know there's power. He stares at you with his huge eyes and wags his finger. Keep your name secret, keep it close. Never let it out. What do you mean? Names are like smells. Things can track you with them. Reekwind coughs, his eyes almost popping out of his skull as he does so. His cough seems to loosen his bowels, for he breaks wind loudly, as if to accentuate his point. If someone knows a true name, it gives them power. He licks his lips. The power to hurt. I don't know my true name.
Updated my journal.
Reekwind's eyes widen. Seeing his eyeballs bulge ever larger makes you uneasy. Then you are blessed. Remain nameless, and you shall be as a spirit on the plains. Untraceable, untrackable, unseen, undiscovered. He smacks his gums wetly. Name chosen, a name given. It allows others to find you and hurt you. Have you been hurt? Reekwind gives a twitching nod, then scratches himself. Let my name slip once, only once. His eyes film over as if the memory is painful, then glances at you uneasily. Tell you the story I will. But 3 coppers must I see. His face splits into a smile as he says the word coppers, and his reeking breath hits you like a hammer. Very well, here's 3 copper. Reekwind gets into a stance, looks left, looks right, then faces you. His face clenches, then with a grunt, he breaks wind again. The smell nearly levels you, but he takes no notice. First I walked the wards in splendor. He stands up stiffly, nose high in the air. He saunters back and forth, nodding to invisible passerbys.
Updated my journal.
Reekwind freezes, his arms akimbo. Crossed paths with the crossed one. Had the looking of a pumpkin, his seeds curses. Reekwind then thrusts his belly out so as to appear fat, slicks his hair with his filthy palms so he looks almost bald, and begins drumming his fingers on his fat belly. He then walks about, circling the spot where his stuffy upper-class persona used to be. All a jumble with curses, this one was. With a sneer and a careless gesture, Reekwind tosses an invisible curse at the stuffy persona. Knew my name, let it slip, I had all it took it all. He stiffens up again, inhaling deeply and resuming his upper class persona. The persona suddenly crumples and Reekwind breaks wind violently, then exhales, filling the air with his foul-reeking breath. Earthless benches, spells, excrement, came here to tell tales. All good for now. Now Reekwind is the name, given name. I see. I had some other questions. Questions? Reekwind hunches over, regarding you warily with his huge eyes. Answers? Huh. Can you tell me about this area? The hive. A tale I can tell, I will. But 3 coppers I must see. He smacks his gums together and snorts like a pig. Very well, here's 3 copper. Spireward, spireward. He points to his left at the charred alley in the distance. An alley of dangerous angles. He bends his limbs in a twisted parody of one of the skeletal buildings. Not always angled, not always burned and charred, once alive, no longer. Flames! Fire! He flings his hands up in the air, then waves them to simulate flames. The alley burned. Great smoke. Ash everywhere. In the end, excuse me. Only skeletons of buildings left. Bones of dead buildings. Bones of dead buildings. Angles. Everywhere angles.
Updated my journal.
He hunches forward, his voice a whisper. Again, the stench from his body hits you like a wave. Dangerous now. Bad men have set up their kip there. Kip there. He bows, then breaks wind in quick spurts. Like a bugle blowing. That is the tale of how a street becomes an alley of dangerous angles. How did the fire start? He makes a semicircle over his heart. A man made it so. A beast made it so. A man whom even fiends admire. Who? A sorcerer's tale filled with madness, sadness, burning, yearning. A tale I can tell, a tale I can tell I will, but 3 coppers must I see. He hisses, then cackles in a way that reminds you of fire burning. A dangerous tale, a dangerous tale. Very well, here's 3 copper. A sorcerer there was, no simple H wizard this, but a mage of power. Reekwind brings his hands together reverently, then smiles evilly. He burned with the art, and the art burned him. The name given him with Ignis, a name respected, then feared, then hated, then punished. Reekwind gives a rattling wheeze, then claws the air and hisses, apparently imitating Ignis. But by one of the last great magi Ignis was, and an apprentice, Ignis learned much, and nothing at the same time. Reekwind shakes his head sadly. In his heart, his coal-black heart, a fire blazed. It burned and it hungered. Reekwind claws at his chest as if in pain. And it hungered. Ignis hungered. It was his wish to see the plains burn. In the night, Reekwind hunches down and begins to slowly stalk in the direction of the alley, a mad grin on his face. Ignis came to the alley. There was to be the alley of dangerous angles, and the fire in his eyes, the fire in his heart, both he let out. Reekwind points at the alley, then flings his arms in the air, silently screaming and laughing at the same time. Flesh ran like wax, people like candles, and Ignis laughed. Reekwind crumples to the ground, his body racked with imagined pain. And evil was done, and forgotten not. He stands up, then hunches over, looks left, looks right, then starts mumbling as if secretly in a conference with someone. Something was to be done. Be done. He stands up stiffly, his face resolute. A punishment was decided. All the hedge wizards, midwives, rune tellers, copper pinching witches, all manner of magelings. They came, all, even those with the smallest trace of the art, to punish Ignis. Separately, they were flies. He makes a buzzing noise between his rotten gums. Together, dangerous. Dangerous. He hums and raises his hand. God Ignis granted his wish. He swirls his hands as if casting a spell. He wished to burn. They granted it, using his own desire to fuel the casting. They made his body a door to the plane of fire. They intended to kill him. Kill him.
Updated my journal.
Failed. Failed. Reekwind breaks wind again, as if to accentuate the failure of the wizards. Ignis lived. Ignis lived. Only slept. Blanket of flames. Flames turned in his sleep as he burned. Never happier. Never happier. He shuts his eyes, wraps his arms around himself, and turns slowly. Burning. Ever burning. His eyes suddenly snap open. One day he will wake, and then the plains shall burn. An unfortunate tale. Has some other questions for you. Questions. Answers. Can you tell me where I could find someone named Farod? Reekwind suddenly hunches over and leers at you. He walks around you for a moment, dragging his leg as if lame. A king! A noble tale. A tale I can tell, but 3 coppers must I see. Very well. Here's 3 copper. Reekwind remains hunched over, staring at you. Once a man of respect, Farod was. A man of goals, in position. All became nothing. Nothing turned to air. Reekwind squints, then breaks wind, filling the air with a gut-churning smell. Turn to air and to stink. A liar, a cheater, a man who twisted law, Farod was. He hunches over as if writing at a desk. He writes for a moment, then suddenly stops, afraid. Then one day, he found that he had twisted himself. Such a liar he had become that when he died, he was to go to horrible place. Reekwind shakes his head sadly, then hunches over again and looks wildly in all directions. Farod would not accept it, would not. He had cheated others. He would cheat his fate, too. He read books and consulted his seers. Reekwind stalks back and forth, his hands over his eyes as if staring off into the distance. And they told him that only in trash could he find which would let him cheat his fate. Reekwind breaks wind once again, then gives a reeking cough.
Updated my journal.
Reekwind stands up stiffly, then begins to fling off imaginary clothes. With every piece of clothing he throws away, he becomes more hunched. Baron threw away his position, his goals, and took up a new title. Reekwind stops, then leers at you. He claws at his rags, shaking them. And became king of rags. He would rule the trash, have his subjects search it all, and find that which he needed. He shakes his head. He looks even now.
Do you know where I could find him?
Reekwind shakes his head. He lives amongst rags and trash. There you will find him. Find him?
I've had some other questions. I'm missing a journal. Have you seen one?
Reekwind breaks wind and scratches his arm. He thinks for a moment, then shakes his head. No journal have I seen.
Well, maybe. I'd like to hear a story.
Tell you a story, I will, but 3 coppers must I see. His face splits into a smile and his reeking breath hits you like a hammer.
Very well, here's 3 copper.
He takes the copper, gums it, then, to your surprise, he swallows it. Best purse there is, belly. He gives a reeking... A story. He smacks his lips, scratching his dirty rags. Let's see. Huh.
I want to hear the story of the man who came to the city without name or memory and spoke with the cursed storyteller who warned him of the danger of names.
Reekwind stops twitching and scratching for a moment and stares at you. That tale costs nothing, for it is worth nothing. And it is worth nothing that it would be a sad tale indeed.
Nevertheless, I would hear it.
Where would such a tale begin? Reekwind grunts, then gives a reeking wheeze that makes your eyes tear up. He seems to be thinking.
It would begin with a man waking up in the mortuary, believed dead, but in truth, only his memories are dead.
Reekwind nods, then studies you and starts scratching himself violently, as if to give himself scars. Dead, but not dead. No memories, no name.
He escaped the mortuary, enters the hive, then speaks to a man who let his true name slip once and has regretted it.
Reekwind seems hypnotized by your words. Yes, much danger in naming. Perhaps, he pauses. Perhaps the man to whom the nameless one speaks is a warning to the danger of names. He seems to chew this over. Perhaps he who has forgotten his name is better off?
Is he? Is it better to suffer the truth with all its consequences, or is it better to remain ignorant? Which of the 2 men is better off?
Reekwind gives a... the spittle green and wet. Then he turns back to you.
It is your question. Your tale.
He speaks slowly.
It is you who must answer it.
I want to hear your answer.
The man who knows his true name is better off, for he knows himself and is stronger person for it. The man who has forgotten his true name is better off, for he is protected against those that would do him harm, including himself. Where a named man moves, he is followed. When a nameless one moves, his name leaves no trail.
That one.
1,000 XP here for the nameless one.
Reekwind mulls this over, licking his lips. He begins to nod slowly, then mumbles under his breath as if debating with himself. Eventually, he turns back to you.
That is a tale. A tale with a moral that tells the teller's morals.
He coughs and spits another flapping onto the cobblestones.
A tale that will answer itself in time. In time? Perhaps what happens will happen, and it may be that this tale has no answer.
Or
it may have an answer, and every tale has an ending. I will refuse to accept it any other way.
Or
I do not know. It is not for me to decide. Perhaps what happens will happen, and it may be that this tale has no answer.
Reekwind scratches himself for a moment, nodding, then reaches into the folds of his robe and flicks you a coin.
For such a tale, a clipped copper.
He sneers.
No more, for the tale's not finished. A fair price. Very well then. Perhaps there are some questions you can answer for me.
Maybe another story? Wait for him to choose a story. Okay, he's just repeating them now.
I've heard enough. Farewell.
Beautiful. Beautiful Reekwind. Yeah. This hive thug is clearly offended by the long conversation we had with Reekwind. He's like, nope. Nope. No more Reekwind stories. I have to kill you now.
I will protect you, Reekwind. I love your stories. They're badass. Even though you smell like ass. Got badass stories, but you smell like ass, you know? Just... It's okay. I love you. I love you.
Why? Yeah, well, fine. If that guy just wants to run off like a little beach, excuse my language, you know, they could do so. We are too powerful, okay? I don't need to use this tactical stuff. JK. No, I really like the system that they have for auto pausing. Let me see here. Quick loot, that's what I want. Bronze bracelet and a copper earring. The other guy ran off, but, you know, oops. Oopsie. Oh, now these fools want to throw down in the streets. Alright, let's throw down then. Make these last few moments exciting. I need to rest, actually. I know Dakon's like, I need to rest, please.
I am Dakon. Please allow me to rest. It's really fucked up that you're not letting me rest.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dakon. Dick move. Alrighty. What a beautiful, flatulence-filled episode. This has been Rolls and Rockets. You're all beautiful, awesome, amazing people. I love you. All the support has been spectacular. And once again, have a great time. Bye-bye.